Hello YouTubers, and today, well I say today, technically yesterday if you look at the time of recording this, I just finished rewatching Torchwood Children of Earth, since I decided to basically marathon most of Torchwood. I skipped generally the episodes that I didn't like, but one that, a full series that I love, and there's my opinion, the best series of Torchwood, at least in visual, because I've only listened to, I think, only one of Big Finisher's Torchwood, so I can't really comment much on that. But yeah, let's talk about Children of Earth and how it was originally also supposed to be the final series of Torchwood. This was planned to be the final series of Torchwood. This was how it was originally meant to all end. So, to put this into perspective, Series 1 and 2 of Torchwood had a similar sort of format to, obviously, its main show, Doctor Who, in having 13 episodes, with each one being 45, although with Torchwood, actually, Series 1 and 2, normally they were 45 to 50-minute episodes. So, usually they were a few minutes longer than your average Doctor Who episode back then, but generally around the same length, and each episode would mostly be a self-contained story with an arc going throughout the series, and then would all come to fruition in the series finale. And also, I do like series 1 and 2. I think they are really good, but the thing is, they have their good episodes and their bad episodes and their mediocre episodes. I definitely think series 2 is better than series 1. To give my thoughts on that. And who was in charge of this for the most part? Well, Chris Chibnall, yeah. Which is really surprising if you look at his track record now. But anyway, Children of Earth is different because Children of Earth, about 50% of it is written by Russell T Davies, who obviously created Torchwood, but he wrote the first episode and the last episode, and also co-wrote the middle episode. And Children of Earth is interesting because it was also, I remember it, I didn't actually watch it on its original broadcast, basically because I don't think I was allowed to, or either I didn't have interest in it, and it's possibly one of those two, because I had seen the odd episode of series 1 and 2. But yeah, interestingly that this was done over 5 episodes. So yeah, it's really odd to have a series which is just 5 episodes. Each episode is an hour long, or just shy of that, so the entire thing is just, 5 hours long. Or just shy of that. Most episodes are about 50, 58, 59 minutes long. I know I'm talking about episode lengths here, but unlike other series of Torchwood, each episode was broadcast the next day, because each episode is called Torchwood Children of Earth Day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the stakes were raised a lot higher, but also this was the first series of Torchwood, which would also lead a trend, not just with Torchwood series from here on out, but also, to be fair, it kind of bled into Doctor Who. It definitely bled into Big Finish as well, where rather than having separate stories, you have one big story set across multiple episodes. And if you remember, if you watched my video on rewatching Miracle Day, how it didn't really work there because it was far too long. Here, it does work because it's a lot more concise, and basically it just keeps upping the ante, and it doesn't, have a massive slowdown where we just have a sort of filler sort of episode. Here, no, every episode counts and every episode progresses things and moves along, and stakes are raised. So anyway, now that I've talked about all that, let's actually talk about Children of Earth. So just to give a bit of context and spoilers, although to be honest, if you didn't know about this, then, I would say spoiler warnings, but anyway. So obviously at the end of Series 2, Yankto, not Yankto, Yankto, Gwen, and Jack are the only ones left alive from Torchwood Cardiff after Owen and Tosh are both unfortunately killed. So they are the only ones left. And, things in episode 1 feels the most like Torchwood did beforehand, because soon things are going to change. Because episode 1, we're still, in the Torchwood base and everything. They're still investigating things in pretty much the same way they always did. And it just feels like, yeah, the team is here, but they're just a bit smaller. And then the episode, literally, there's no sort of introductory thing. The episode basically shows you the premise of it straight away, where one day, on day 1 of this, epidemic, all the children on Earth just suddenly stop. They freeze for, a few moments, and then just continue. Everyone on Earth, every child on Earth just does this. Just freezes. And it's just like a bit weird. And then later on the same day, they freeze again, and they keep freezing, and then eventually they start speaking in unison, but it's clear that someone is speaking through them. And it's actually what actually is progressing the plot, and who becomes more of a main character in this, who was previously just a side character, is Gwen's now husband, Reese, who actually is now really in this series he's pretty much a main character, when previous series he was, a side character who was, on again, off again, and who wasn't in necessarily every episode, or if he was, I think he was in every episode of Series 2. His role was minimised. Here, for the most part, he is basically filling, a missing role. That's obviously, we've got a much smaller Torchwood team. So, anyway, what does he make the connection with? Well, he's saying that all the children, it's chosen at certain points, like just before school or at break time, and it's at UK times, though. So everything is specifically happening in the UK. And at the start of the episode, we have a flashback to 1965, which is really odd year to choose, but yes, and I know I can hear the meme of London 1965 going in the comments. But anyway, so we just see Jack in 1965 lead these children off into this bright light and tell them to go into the light. It's all right. Clearly fucking isn't. And we find out that this alien creature, only known as the 456, and this is due to the signals that it gave off back in 1965, wanted 12 children back in 1965. Technically, it only got 11 because one of them actually escaped, and the reason given to why he wasn't taken by the 567 is because he was on the verge of puberty. So, at least that's the theory given. So they didn't want him, they want prepubescent children. And the reason why they want the children, why would they want the children? Do they need them for something? Is it for survival? Do they, want to experiment on them? No. None of that. They want to smoke them like a joint. Yeah. They basically want the children to get high. Yes. They want the children, of Earth. They want 10% of the overall children of Earth, which I think they said is 35 million? Yeah, at least in 2009 it was. It's probably, I'm assuming it's probably similar to that now, maybe slightly more. But yeah, generally that's how many children, they want. And the thing is, the thing that you can tell Russell D Davies wrote this, and it's similar to other things he wrote, for example, like the Series 3 three-part finale with the Master. And he also did a series last year, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of it, but Sue Bankfield did review it. Need a review on that. But basically, to be honest, the most interesting thing about the story and the most realistic thing is the way the government reacts to it. And particularly the UK government. I can't speak for other governments, but the thing is, the way the UK government, basically doesn't put up a fight. In fact, tries to, destroy Torchwood, tries to kill Jack, Gwen, and Yangto immediately off, so that there can't be any opposition to it. Because, the people in power, they just want this problem to go away. They just want to wipe their hands clean of it, and as long as it doesn't affect them, then they're just happy to go ahead with it. Because to them, it's just a numbers game. In fact, they start calling the children units later on. In fact, they literally say, right, we've got to give the 456 35 million units. This is how many units we can give them from here. And, initially they do try to barter initially. They try to say, right, we can give you 3,500 or something like that. And they keep, trying to barter. And it's just like, yeah, that's still, you're giving them children, a lot of children. And this, the 456 just says, no, we want all the 10%, or we're just going to kill you all. And that's all. The one thing I'm just like, okay, you're going to kill them all. The one thing I would say about this is, if the 456 can control the children, it can stop the children, and it can speak through the children. I'm not sure why it just doesn't make the children walk, or just takes them. I'm not sure why it doesn't just do that. That's the one problem I do have with it when I was thinking about. Oh yeah, and I didn't think about this the first time I watched it, which I think was back in 2014, 2015, years after it had aired. But the one thing I never thought about was, oh yeah, why doesn't it just take the 10% of Earth's children as is? Because, it can teleport down here. I'm not sure why it doesn't do that. I don't know. Then again, maybe it can't. They do specifically. Something I do like about this is that the creature, you feel its presence throughout. It's not something that is just left to the final episode and is left really vague, but not really given any answers at all. Like in Miracle Day, where it's just like, okay. In Children of Earth, we know enough about the creature, but we still don't know a lot. The thing is, the things that we do know keep it interesting. In the fact that, we first see the creature, or see bits of it. We only ever see tendrils of it, really. We don't ever see it properly halfway through episode 3, and maybe because, the creature itself actually is only tendrils, the actual physical prop. But we do get a nice shot of one of the kids from 1965 who, the creature who is in this tank that has been purposely built for it, you can see it smoking it. So, yay, that is nice. Now, a lot of people do find Children of Earth hard to watch. They do find it really depressing. I can see why they would find it depressing. I personally don't. But that's just me. To be honest, yeah, I'm quite happy to see children torch, a child be tortured at the end, which I'll talk about later. Is that making me a sick bastard? Maybe, but I hate children, so Maybe that's just me. But I can see why, this was very disturbing to people. But the thing that gets to me is the way the government acts to it. And the thing is, if this really did happen, if this was real, and then those 10% of children would just be taken. If this happened in real life, that's exactly how the UK government would act. Probably the rest of the governments around the world would also act, but that is exactly how the UK government would act and would desperately try to cover it up. In fact, they come up with cover stories to cover themselves in this. They lie to the public saying that, oh yeah, we're just taking your children to basically, get a flu jab kind of thing. But to stop them from randomly stopping and talking in unison. But really, obviously, they're taking them. I mean, it is obvious that is happening. But once they start doing that, that's too late. And then they even prepare a cover story just like, oh well, the aliens, they betrayed us and they took the children, which is all complete bollocks. Yeah, and the one thing that I don't believe would happen is that the government do get found out and are presumably the members who are in charge get punished. No, that's not going to happen in real life, unfortunately. That only could happen in Torchwood, because in real life, yeah, people just get away with shit like that. Okay, nowhere near as bad as that, but you'd be surprised. Be surprised. In this series, just like in every other series, so for example, in series 1 of Torchwood, we find out how Captain Jack got his, he chose his name from an American soldier. In series 2, we found out about his brother and his father and his mother and his home planet. Well, not home planet, but where he lived in the 51st century. And in this series, we find out that he has a daughter and a grandson. And oh boy, yeah. For some reason, there was a sort of resemblance. I don't know what it is, but something about that relationship kind of reminded me vaguely, very vaguely. There were a few hints of a similarity to the relationship between the Doctor and Susan in Jack's relationship with his daughter. But yeah, I've got to. There's literally a lot of things to talk about, and I'm trying to keep it as concise as I can. And Yangto, yeah. This is, to be honest, I found Yangto unfortunately doesn't make it past episode 4. He gets killed off, and to be honest, I think I found his exit. To be honest, his death. I think his death is more powerful and more sad than Owen's and Tosh's. And I think the reason is because that he doesn't, die saving the world or anything. He doesn't die, at the end of the series. He dies in episode 4 of 5. And his last act in life is attempting to stop this creature, the 4, 5, 6, and he fails. I mean, they completely fail at it and they fuck up. They misjudge this creature and it just wipes out this entire building of people with this gas. And Yangto was unfortunately a casualty of it, which is a shame because this series, I think Yangto, well, particularly in series 2, but this, really brought Yangto in the forefront as one of the main members of Torchwood, not just more of a background member as he was for a lot of series 1 and some of series 2. But yeah, he's much more at the forefront, and unfortunately you don't get to enjoy him for too long before he's killed off. And this obviously means by the end of it, Gwen Cooper is the only, other member left of Torchwood. And this is also the disbanding of Torchwood, essentially, because the base is destroyed at the end of episode 1, which means they have to go and hide from the government, because the government is trying to cover up Torchwood and pretend like, it never existed. And this is where Torchwood disbands, and it never really recovers, at least not on television, from this. Torchwood never gets properly back together. So it's like all these things, basically, everything is falling apart. All the members of Torchwood that are falling apart, everything's just not going well. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. And something I should mention is, at the time, future Doctor Peter Capaldi stars as a villain, or sort of a villain. He's not really a villain or an anti-hero. In fact, it's said best, actually, he's just the middleman, unfortunately. He's not, basically the Prime Minister of the UK in Children of Earth, is very happy for... what's the character's name again? Literally, I'm trying to remember his... Frobisher. There we go, Mr. Frobisher. And the only reason I've remembered his name is because he has this... I was just thinking of Frobisher as the shape-shifting penguin who travelled with the Sixth Doctor, so it was always a bit amusing that he's called Frobisher. Mr. Frobisher. I can't remember his first name. But to be honest, it said that, to be honest, you see him in that, and he is the one who gives the order to have Jack killed and everything. But the thing is that, I don't know, maybe it's because he's played by Peter Capaldi, who you can actually see bits of hints of how he would play the 12th Doctor. To be honest, his performance is not really like the 12th Doctor. It's not like Malcolm Tucker either, to be honest. It's very, very different, and he does it very well. But you can tell that this is a guy who is just kind of stuck in the middle, but he is aware. He is aware that the Prime Minister is just using him so that he can just wipe his hands clean of anything. And he is aware of this, and he's put in this really difficult situation. And then when he has done all this for the Prime Minister and done everything, how is he rewarded? Well, the Prime Minister initially says that everyone in the boardroom, your kids are exempt from this. However, he later states to Frobisher quietly, saying, yeah, but your kids won't be, though, because we need some publicity from the press to show that yes, getting these vaccinations is legit. And Frobisher says, oh yes, but surely we're just gonna, we're just gonna fake it for my kids. He said, no, your kids are gonna be taken. They're gonna be taken off. And then he basically says that he'll spill the beans about the whole thing and tell the public the truth on TV. And the Prime Minister says, fine, but your kids are still going down there. They're still going to be handed over. So now they'll know where they're going. And what does, Frobisher do? He asks for a gun, and he shoots his family and himself. Ooh, lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly. A character, who has basically went through hell through this. He is clearly stressed out of his mind out of this, and it's clear that he's doing a lot of these things just so that him and his family are safe himself. But it's clear that he's just kind of stuck in the middle. He is very much a middleman in this. He's not, evil. He's not good either, though. He's just kind of in the middle. He's just kind of like the person who just it's just basically a middleman for everyone, I think is the best way to put it. And, yeah. So the problem to solve this situation doesn't come until, obviously, the end. Now, the one child who basically managed to get away originally back in 1965 is now an adult, and he is the only adult who does the stopping, the freezing like all the other kids, and he does the talking while all the other kids do. He's still controlled by the 456. And the 456 decide to get rid of him by making this screaming noise, which makes him basically, I don't know, it just makes him internally bleed, and you see blood coming out of his ears, eyes, nose, and mouth, and he just dies. However, that scream is analysed, and there is a way to counteract it, and which would destroy or kill or whatever, or stop the 456. The only thing is that you need a child in order to basically be the basis for it. And unfortunately, the only child nearby when this is all happening and time is running out is Jack's own grandson. And oh boy, yes, so Jack unfortunately, makes the decision that he has to sacrifice his own grandson, and he does. In front of his mother. His daughter as well, who is screaming and banging on the door trying to get in to this. And it's just fucking hell. Lovely. So obviously, not only after this is, obviously, the day is saved, the children are now free again, yay. But Jack is essentially, as Russell T. Lewis put it in a later interview, essentially has lost everything. He has lost his boyfriend Yangso when they were starting to take their relationship to the next level, sort of thing. Sort of, I think. Bit more, I don't know. And obviously he's dead. He's lost Torchwood as, a base of operation. He loses that. So he no longer, is working for Torchwood anymore. He no longer has that. He obviously has just lost his grandson, but also he loses his daughter because his daughter just will not, even look at him, talk to him, or anything. She's gone and she's never mentioned again. So, cut off contact from his own daughter. And yeah, he's essentially a broken man. And how does the series of events all end? It ends with Jack basically teleporting away onto a passing by ship. And it ends with Gwen just crying about it, who's also pregnant, and her and Reese just walking off, and that's actually how it ends. Yeah. And that was originally the finale of Torchwood, at least for 2 years. Until, obviously, it was brought back. But yeah, that's how it originally was supposed to end. Now, we do see Jack again briefly in The End of Time. And, the 10th Doctor gives him a friend in Alonzo. Obviously, we see him again in Miracle Day proper. But yeah, to be honest, I'm just giving, this is not a full proper review, this is just like a brief overview of just finishing rewatching it. But yeah, there's a lot in this, and this is clearly probably one of the darkest Doctor Who pieces of released media to be put on screen. It probably is, to be honest. There are similarly dark moments in Miracle Day as well. There are also stupid moments in that as well, but I would say it was one of the darkest pieces of Doctor Who media, but then again, Big Finish exists. So, maybe, maybe not. But definitely on television at least. And I do highly recommend it. I do highly recommend it. My advice, well, for how to watch it, because again, it's on BBC iPlayer right now. So if you live in the UK, then you can watch all of it on BBC iPlayer right now. My advice for how to watch it, well, you can do what I do and just binge it all at once. Because to be honest, I can do that. Some people might not prefer to do it that way and might want to brace themselves. For me, it's just too good for that. I've just got to watch it all in one go. I would say, if I would, be ranking the episodes, I would say probably, I don't know. Also, actually, something I didn't cover is something that happens in episode 1 is that we have a NHS doctor, and I can't remember his name because he's in it so briefly, who you think is going to be, a replacement for Owen as a doctor for Torchwood. But it turns out, no, he's working for the government, and he betrays Jack, and as a result, to stop him from blabbing anything, he is then shot by a government agent. Yeah, so that's just something there. Yeah, initially that was the end of Talk. Do I think that Children of Earth should have been the end of Torchwood? It's tempting, but the thing is, if you were to ask me, before rewatching Miracle Day, then I would have said yes, but now, maybe not, because to be honest, the ending of it is just, it's just an ending that just kind of just rushes is a bit rushed at the end with Jack and everything. And to be honest, it just kind of feels like it's not a true ending to Torchwood, in that Jack's story doesn't quite feel fulfilled in that way. It does and it doesn't. I mean, to be honest, nothing about Children of Earth, nothing about this is a happy story. I think the happiest thing that happens in the story is that Gwen is revealed to be pregnant, and her and Reese are excited to obviously be having a baby. That's probably the happiest thing that happens in it, to be honest, or one of the only happy things to be happening in it. So yeah, Torchwood Children of Earth, highly recommend it. Brace yourself for when you watch it, and if you have watched it, then hey, let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't watched it, then this is something for people who like dark and depressing things. So basically, me. It's a shame that we probably will not get anything like this again. Probably, I really wish that they would bring back Torchwood. But at the same time, look what happened with Miracle Day. I don't know. I think if they were to bring back Torchwood, not to do this format again, because it worked for Children of Earth because it was planned out to be that way, and it just kind of feels like they did Miracle Day like that just because, I don't know, it's what an American audience were pleased with, because this was actually the first piece of Torchwood to actually be legally broadcast and available in America. Yeah. Because before then, there was no way to actually watch Torchwood in the US. Or Doctor Who, for that matter. 2009 was the first time you could actually watch Doctor Who and Torchwood in the US. And we'll talk about the new series of Doctor Who So Planet of the Dead was the first of those. Anyway, I've gone on far too long about this. So that's it for this review. Or thoughts on watching, I should say. Rewatching, because God, there's probably so many things I've just skimmed over and fully missed, but whatever. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.